Well, good morning on this Wednesday of Holy Week, on our calendar, April 8th. I want to start with a reading, and it is called How the Virus Stole Easter by Christy Bother. And she adds, with a nod to Dr. Seuss. "'Twas late in 19 when the virus began, bringing chaos and fear to all people, each land. People were sick, hospitals full, doctors overwhelmed, no one in school. As winter gave way to the promise of spring, the virus raged on, touching peasant and king. People hid in their homes from an enemy unseen. They YouTubed and Zoomed, social distanced and cleaned. April approached and the churches were closed. There won't be an Easter, the world supposed. There won't be church services and icons are out, no reason for new dresses when we can't go about. Holy Week started as bleak as the rest. The world was focused on masks and on tests. Easter can't happen this year, it proclaimed. Online and at home, it just won't be the same. Maundy, Thursday, Good Friday, the days came and went. The virus pressed on, it just wouldn't relent. The world woke Sunday, and nothing had changed. The virus still menaced, the people estranged. Pooh-pooh to the saints, the world was grumbling. They're finding out now that no Easter is coming. They're just waking up. We know just what they'll do. Their mouths will hang open a minute or two. Then all the saints will all cry boo-hoo. That noise, said the world, will be something to hear. So it paused and the world put its hand to its ear. And it did hear a sound coming through all the skies. It started down low, then it started to rise. But the sound wasn't depressed. Why, this sound was triumphant. It couldn't be so, but it grew in abundance. The world stared around, popping its eyes, then it shook. What it saw was a shocking surprise. Every saint in every nation, the tall and the small, was celebrating Jesus in spite of it all. It hadn't stopped Easter from coming, it came. Somehow or other, it came just the same. And the world with its life quite stuck in quarantine stood puzzling and puzzling. Just how can it be? It came without bonnets, it came without bunnies, it came without egg hunts, cantatas, or money. Then the world thought of something it hadn't before. Maybe Easter, it thought, doesn't come from a store. Maybe Easter, perhaps, means a little bit more. And what happened then? Well, the story's not done. What will you do? Will you share with that one or two or more people needing hope in this night? Will you share the source of your life in this fight? The churches are empty, but so is the tomb, and Jesus is victor over death, doom, and gloom. So this year at Easter, let this be our prayer, as the virus still rages all around everywhere. May the world see hope when it looks at God's people. May the world see the church is not building or steeple. May the world find faith in Jesus' death and resurrection. May the world find joy in a time of dejection. May 2020 be known as the year of survival. But not only that, let it start a revival. Beautiful words of hope, a little bit of fun on Dr. Seuss and the Grinch and Christmas. But it is true. Easter will come. As we march towards the glory of resurrection, we take time with Jesus to journey through this Holy Week. So this morning, I actually want to share from Colossians. Paul is assumed, as this is written, to be in prison. He continues to write, to send these letters to churches who are struggling. struggling with what this means to be a follower, to be one who is walking in the footsteps, in the model, in the example of Jesus. And the church in Colossus is struggling. It is struggling with what that means. They are struggling with trying to hold on or live into or only use what they know of the Jewish traditions, and that to be the way they understand themselves to be as followers of Jesus. There also are those in that church in some of the area who are wanting to embrace a different type of life, where they live outside of the world and focus only on knowing Jesus, but not engaging the world with that knowledge. And so in these letters in our New Testament, we are looking at chapter 3 in Colossians, verses 1 through 4. If you have been raised with Christ, seek the things that are above, where Christ is, seated at the right hand of God. Set your minds on the things that are above, not on the things that are on earth. For you have died, and your life is hidden with Christ in God. When Christ, who is your life, is revealed, then you also will be revealed with him in glory. So briefly this morning, I want to focus on two phrases in this passage of Scripture. The first one is his admonishment or his advice to set your heart on things above. What he's asking in many ways is, what is it that you seek? What is the direction or goal that not only are you seeking a path to, but what is that direction or goal that you are choosing? And when he talks about things above and not things of man or earth or the world, this is not a focus on sinful things. What Paul is saying is, when you focus on things that are above, you are able to let go of some of all that other that demands your time, your intention, your heart, your spirit. We are to live in the world. We are residents of the world. We are not ones to separate ourselves from the things of the world. We are living into it and being a model and example. When we set our heart and our mind on things above, then what we are doing is allowing that to be our primary focus and that to be our filter for everything else in our lives. The second phrase that stands out in this passage is setting your mind on things above. First it was your heart, then he talks about your mind. He's inviting the people then, and of course us today, to a new focus. And the phrase, when translated, actually means to think about constantly. When we keep Jesus before us constantly, it will focus how we respond, how we are in the midst of joyous times and in the midst of unsettling times like today. The invitation is, once again, as we've talked about our priorities. We are finding that much that we thought was so important has faded. We have this time in our social distancing, in our change in routines for some of us, not for all of us. There are many whose work is essential, and they are continuing to do that. But in those moments, in a world that we see for this time has changed, we are being given the opportunity to live into these words of Paul, to refocus, set our hearts on the things above, on Jesus Christ. Set our mind on the things above, our focus being as our thoughts filter what we see and what we experience. That filter should be Jesus. So I think what Paul is asking us this morning and every day is this question. So where is your heart? What is it that you seek? And the second question, where is your mind? What is it that you think about? Today is Wednesday of Holy Week. We continue our journey forward. Focus your mind, focus your heart on the things of Jesus Christ. Use that as you look around to help you wade through some of the concerns and anxieties, some of the uncertainties of what lies ahead. When you focus there, it aids us in many ways in stability in the midst of what seems to be a very shaking world right now. But it also brings to us some peace. Amen.